His name was Jeremiah Johnson. They say he wanted to be a mountain man.
From silent snowstorms to near disasters with real animals, this movie was made the hard way. These are the weird facts you didn't know about the movie Jeremiah Johnson from 1972.
Jeremiah Johnson made his way into the mountain.
The movie was filmed in the Wasatch Mountains in Utah, around 8,000 feet above sea level. The goal was to make the wilderness feel real because it was real. Some days the crew had to hike in with gear and costumes. There were no easy roads to many spots. The script might have been about a man learning to survive, but the set turned into a survival test too. Even in warmer months, people woke up with frost on their sleeping bags. If someone got hurt, getting help was not fast. The mountains were beautiful, but they were not gentle.
Robert Redford as Jeremiah Johnson. Some say he's dead.
One weird thing about Jeremiah Johnson is how quiet it is at the start. For a long stretch, there's barely any talking at all. That choice caused a big fight. Warner Brothers didn't like it. They worried viewers would get bored if the main character stayed quiet. The studio wanted changes to fill the empty space. Director Sidney Pollack refused. He said the silence was the point. If Jeremiah is alone in the wild, the audience should feel alone too. And the quiet made the movie feel even more intense. Before Robert Redford took the role, the part was linked to Clint Eastwood. Sidney Pollack had been working on the project for a long time, using two books as inspiration, Mountain Man and Crow Killer. The studio wanted a big star. Meetings happened, Eastwood thought about it, then said no. The reason was simple. He felt the character was too quiet and too internal. This story is about a man becoming harder and colder. Pollack didn't panic. He called Redford directly. Redford agreed fast, even before he fully had the script in hand. The movie is based on a frontier legend often linked to John Liver-Eating Johnson, and the real stories about him were harsher than what the film shows. According to legend, after his pregnant, flathead wife was killed by a group of Crow warriors, he went on a long revenge spree. The nickname liver-eating wasn't meant as a cute metaphor in those stories. The film doesn't go as far as the most brutal versions of the legend. The character on screen is made more human, more hesitant, more sorrowful. Pollack reportedly believed that showing the very darkest version of that legend would have been too savage for most audiences. Redford didn't treat this like a normal acting job. He trained with a real wilderness consultant and practiced real skills. He learned things like building fires, setting traps, tracking, and handling animal skins. He also pushed to do many scenes himself. When he struggles through freezing water, the idea was to make it look and feel real. People on set said he became quieter off camera and spent time alone near the woods and fires. The goal was to look like a man whose life had been shaped by hunger and distance from people.
Milk him, and I'll get you another.
The character Bear Claw Chris Lapp was played by Will Geer, and the way he acted was unusual. Geer was not only a seasoned actor, but was also described as a real outdoorsman. In the scenes where Bear Claw teaches Jeremiah how to survive, much of it was on the spot. Pollock told the crew to keep the camera rolling and let the moment happen naturally. Gere also pushed himself physically even though he was older. The result feels less like two actors reading lines and more like one experienced mountain man teaching another.
To have been different, but you oftentimes will find that the story doesn't always go the way you had in mind.
The iconic image of Jeremiah riding with ice all over his face looks like a special effect, but it wasn't fake. The crew shot during an actual blizzard in the Utah Highlands, with temperatures dropping extremely low. Redford went out in the storm and stayed there long enough for the cold to do the work naturally. Cameras could only roll in short bursts because equipment started struggling in the freezing air. For 1972, the film's approach to Native Americans was described as a big step compared to many older westerns. Pollock pushed to cast actual Native American actors and bring in consultants. Some people still felt uncomfortable with parts of the revenge plot. Even in the softened movie version, Pollock listened and adjusted certain moments, like where a Crow warrior looks at Jeremiah across a valley and walks away instead of attacking. The goal was to not treat native characters like background props. The grizzly bear scene is one of the most tense parts of the film. And that tension wasn't only acting. They used a real trained grizzly bear named Bart. The scene was supposed to be controlled. The bear charges, stops short, and rears up. But the bear didn't stop as planned. A stunt coordinator stepped in to redirect the bear and was slammed to the ground. For a few seconds, the set froze. Pollock fought to keep the scene because he believed that the real unpredictability was what made it feel real. Late in the movie, there's a devastating moment where Jeremiah returns and finds tragedy waiting for him. This was shot in a way that focused on reaction more than dialogue. It relies on silence and Redford's face. Pollock's approach was simple. Let the camera watch the moment instead of forcing it with extra words. The result is painful, even without big dramatic speeches. You see the character's world collapse without anyone needing to explain it. That kind of scene is hard because it's quiet, and quiet grief can feel more real than yelling. Subscribe if you want to see even weirder facts about the most amazing movies.